Dad's alcoholism just took him away. As soon as Mum came home from work, she'd gone up to see my dad and then just come running downstairs to say that he'd just passed away upstairs. But I did think that that was going to be a long-term problem for me. It was going to cause a lot of pain, and it did. My addiction and my obsession with, drugs and alcohol, the devastation it causes on other people around you is immense. The moment I realised that my dad had the same illness as me was when I wrote my goodbye letter to addiction. I wasn't going to let it do the same to me. I knew I needed to break that chain. My name's Jordan, I'm 30 years old and I'm a recovering addict. I admitted myself into Priory with a cocaine addiction. Today is day 297 of being clean and sober. Now my life is good. I have the life I've always wanted. This is the family home, and this place has so many memories for me, good and bad. It's also really special to come back and spend some time with my mum. Hello.
Hello, my darling.
You all right?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. My mum has always been there for me, guiding me through the good times and the bad. It's nice to sit down and have a coffee with my mum.
Yes, lovely.
That's a lovely picture, isn't it?
That's at Nan's, yes.
Early childhood, your usual sibling rivalries and bickering and playing about, winding up my sisters and vice versa. That was all quite, happy really. This is Christmas Day. I really enjoyed Dad's company on Christmas Day because
That could be fun.
Yeah. My dad was a character. Everyone loved spending time with him. A lot of people loved having a drink with him because, he was the life and soul of the party.
He loved Christmas. He always did the cooking, but he was drinking while he was doing the cooking.
We never really got many pictures, us three. There's not many.
No, because he couldn't wait to get in his room and play his games and smoke and drink all day long.
Most of the time as a child, I spent with my mum. My dad used to isolate himself quite a lot with his drinking, so my time spent with him was less so. I used to remember feeling quite let down and sad when he used to just disappear. I would see the relationships my friends would have with their dads, and it was very different to the relationship I had with my dad. I always was desperate for his love and his attention, and it was really hard to get that. He was never there, really, even though he was. Dad's alcoholism just took him away. One day in particular, Mum was at work and I was off school. Dad was up in bed. As soon as Mum came home from work, she'd gone up to see my dad and then just come running downstairs to say that he'd just passed away upstairs. I was 13 years old at the time. I wish that, our time was spent a lot differently than it was. It was so sudden, but I did think that that was going to be a long-term problem for me. It was going to cause a lot of pain, and it did.
Well, when Dad died, you became very angry. Like Dad, took yourself off into your room and you get so angry sometimes that you smash the room up.
I started to isolate myself from school because I had no friends, and I very quickly felt quite depressed. I then became quite suicidal, trying to hang myself. Mum had to come home and see this a lot of the time. What really changed things was partying. It started to give me friends. For a lot of that time, that was my sort of first experience drinking, and I loved it. Then, some of those parties got a little bit heavier. There were drugs going around.
And this particular night, I was upstairs in bed and the doorbell was going, and I had to physically drag you into the kitchen. And I thought I was going to have a heart attack because you just was so lifeless. That was an awful night that night.
Drinking, drugs made me feel quite high and happy, but I loved it too much and I got carried away. I can't remember when it was, but I tried cocaine for the first time. I don't know what it was, it had just hooked me. In my mid-20s, I had money to fund my addiction. The drug use got so out of control. First thing in the morning, we're talking, all night, we're talking every day in the week. I just completely fell off the rails. I look back at photos from that time now, I look so ill, so ill.
Your hair was long, never washed. You had this grey skin.
Yeah.
And I used to say to you, what are you doing to yourself?
In my head, I thought I looked like Liam Gallagher. I thought I was...
Really?
Yeah, I know. But that's the insane of it. I look nothing like him, But I thought, I've got my cocaine, but I'm actually stood there in my kitchen, in my flat at 9 in the morning in my dressing gown. What about that is like, cool. Money sort of ran low really quickly and I was constantly skint because I was spending it all on cocaine. My biggest problem at that time was, what can I say to mum to get her to lend me another 100 quid?
I'd lend you money in the morning and then come the lunchtime you wanted more and then the evening you wanted more.
Lying to my mum was normal. It was everyday life.
I was trying to say to you, Jordan, look, this has got to stop or I've got no more money. I can't give you any more money. Because I felt I was trying to say these things to shock you, to do something.
I preyed on my mum's goodwill, her honesty and her kindness, really, because she always believed me. When I said, what I needed money for, she always believed me. I put mum under immense amount of pressure at that time to have to take my friends in. And this room, because part of the house just become sort of a drug den in a way. And she didn't really have any choice around that. There was one time when we had friends living here. We had gone away for a family wedding, me and my mum. And it wasn't till we'd come back and they had so much weed. And it was a bit like, oh, where'd you get that from? But I didn't really think too much of it at the time. And then might have been several weeks later, mum had completely flipped at me and completely gone berserk at parts of her jewellery gone missing. A friend of mine stole her jewellery, sold it to fund drugs.
That really upset me.
Yeah,
Some of that jewellery, you never get it back.
It's one of the most difficult parts of looking back at things that I've been responsible for, being honest and owning up to things that have happened in the past. That particular moment of someone, stealing her jewellery really does hurt quite a bit, actually, and I'm devastated.
I often think, is it my fault? Was I not firm enough? Should I have let these things carry on as long as they did?
My addiction and my obsession with, drugs and alcohol, the immense ripple effect that has on friends and family is far greater beyond, anything you could ever imagine. The devastation it causes on other people around you is immense. Rock bottom lasts for a few years, actually. Using and drinking was a way to completely get out of my head. And that's something that I've literally been doing since the age of 13 when my dad died. I wanted any way possible to get out of my head, and drugs and alcohol made me happy for a long period of time until it didn't. There were times when I was in the bedroom looking up at the ceiling and just thinking, I'm probably gonna have to kill myself to stop this. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of saying, I'm never doing it again. I knew that I couldn't stop without help. So it was a culmination of being fed up, feeling suicidal, knowing that I was going to probably lose my job, knowing that I was pretty sure I was going to lose my girlfriend, and also my mum and my family were going to cut me off. So I'm going to be homeless, I'm going to have nowhere to go, I'm going to have no job, I'm going to have no girlfriend. I was very close to that. I don't want to know how close. I knew I was ready at that point. So I picked up the phone, got in contact with a brilliant psychiatrist. And do you know what was quite refreshing is to hear someone else go, yeah, I can help you. Like I can actually offer you a way out of this, like if you're up for it. That phone call was the first time I sort of realised that I actually wasn't alone. Do you know what? The funny thing is that I actually didn't want to leave Priory. You know, I really, really loved my time in there. You know, it was really life-changing, and you could feel when you're in there that warmth of like, this is something special that's setting me up for the rest of my life. You almost have the fear and anxiety of what's going on, where am I don't know what I'm doing, to suddenly going, oh my God, there's hope. And I think that word hope is so big on this journey, because you finally go, oh my God, that's it, that's the light at the end of the tunnel. As soon as I realised that there was a plan of therapy all day, every day, things like diaries, writing, you know, a daily diary, and putting pen to paper on your thoughts and feelings, and you know, doing exercise classes like boxing, and you know, just it was so different to what I had expected, and it was a great moment for me to sort of learn more about myself. It was the first time I'd actually written in ages.
I think also for me was when I was asked to do a note.
Oh yeah, the letter.
The letter.
Oh yeah.
As I was writing this letter, I mean, I was still angry. I thought, I'm gonna just say it.
Like you get it all out.
Which I did.
And it gets read out in front of the whole group.
You had hurt me, and there was things that I was shocked about.
My mum had put in there a lot about how I'd driven her to the brink, how she couldn't physically, mentally cope anymore, and she had reached her rock bottom dealing with me. But it's also what keeps me from, you know, picking up a drink and going back to that, because that was like a really big moment that made me realise that has to be in the past, and we have to move on.
Yes. Do you think that seeing Dad do all these drinking and drugs made you follow that path?
I didn't really understand what was going on with Dad until I went through it myself. The moment I realised that my dad had the same illness as me was when I wrote my goodbye letter to addiction. I remember saying that it's choked him out, and you know, he had no way of fighting back against that. I wasn't going to let it do the same to me. I knew I needed to break that chain. And that was sort of the first time that I really linked my dad and me as being two people that were battling the same illness. Priory introduced me to the aftercare and the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous and other fellowships. The plan was there. You know, I knew what I needed to do to stay clean and sober.
It's lovely to see you.
Yeah, and you?
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a good place now.
Good, good. Well, you look so much better. I can't tell you.
So do you.
Yeah, you look so much better.
What she's had to put up with, me as an addict and my dad as an alcoholic. My mum is an absolute gem. She's a diamond.
It's now nice for me to get phone calls from my son that isn't wanting money.
Yeah.
And we can have a nice chat about every other things apart from money.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel very good.
My outlook now and the potential of my life is beyond my wildest dreams. One day when I want to have a family and I want to have kids, you know, I don't want them to see what I saw in my dad. So it's important for me to pass on everything I've learned in my life and to give them the best chance that they've got, and not pass that chain of addiction on to someone else.
I'm very proud of you, and you've come a long way. Please continue, because it's lovely having my son as my son. Thank you. God.
Start your recovery with Priory. To learn more, visit priorygroup.com/break the chain.